What happens when a name slowly disappears from headlines, when invitations stop arriving, and when silence replaces applause? Tonight's story is not about rumors or shock headlines. It is about what often happens quietly when a public figure is no longer useful to the system that once elevated them. Stay with us, because what you are about to hear is not loud, but it is unsettling. Silence rarely arrives suddenly. It does not announce itself, nor does it demand attention. Instead, it settles in quietly, almost politely, until one day it becomes impossible to ignore. At first, nothing appears wrong. Schedules still exist on paper. Names still appear in old announcements. Yet behind the scenes, small signals begin to surface. Messages take longer to receive replies. Invitations are delayed, then quietly withdrawn. Conversations that once felt warm become brief and formal. This is often how absence begins, not as rejection, but as gradual erasure. For many public figures, the most unsettling realization is not criticism, but the lack of it. There is no explanation to respond to, no accusation to clarify, only the growing sense that one is no longer part of the ongoing conversation. Observers may mistake this period for rest or transition. In reality, it is a threshold moment, when visibility fades without ceremony. And once that threshold is crossed, returning is never simply a matter of effort. Silence in this context is not empty. It is a message delivered without words. And those who recognize it early understand that something fundamental has already changed. In highly structured industries, value is not emotional, it is calculated. Decisions are rarely personal, even when their consequences feel deeply so. Behind closed doors, worth is continuously reassessed, not according to past achievements, but future usefulness. Numbers replace narratives, risk replaces loyalty, stability becomes more desirable than potential. These discussions are quiet, efficient, and detached. They do not concern what someone has endured, only what they can still provide. When circumstances shift, when attention moves elsewhere or unpredictability increases, reassessment becomes inevitable. What is often misunderstood is that reassessment does not imply wrongdoing. Sometimes it simply reflects a change in priorities. However, the outcome can feel indistinguishable from punishment. Once value is questioned, opportunities narrow. Support becomes conditional. The margin for error disappears. At this stage, even silence is interpreted as liability. From the outside, everything appears calm. From the inside, decisions have already been finalized. By the time the public notices, the conclusion has long been reached, quietly, decisively, and without appeal. Visibility can feel like safety. Affiliation can feel like security. But in reality, protection within powerful systems is rarely unconditional. What many do not realize until too late is that protection often exists only while alignment remains flawless. It is not built on permanence, but on convenience. The moment that convenience weakens, protection does not collapse dramatically. It simply steps away. There are no confrontations, no explanations, no dramatic endings, only distance. This illusion is particularly dangerous because it encourages reliance. When individuals believe they are shielded, they may assume that effort alone is enough to endure. Yet effort cannot replace relevance, and loyalty cannot outweigh shifting interests. When protection dissolves, the individual is often left exposed in ways they never anticipated, not attacked, but unsupported. And without visible backing, even neutrality can feel like vulnerability. The most painful aspect is not the loss itself, but the realization that the safety once trusted was never guaranteed. Understanding this illusion does not require bitterness, it requires clarity, because once protection is recognized as conditional, reliance turns into awareness. and awareness is the first step towards regaining autonomy. Accusations provoke response. Silence does not. In public narratives, silence is often mistaken for neutrality or restraint. In reality, it is one of the most effective tools of disengagement. Silence avoids scrutiny. Silence leaves no evidence. Silence allows distance without responsibility. When no statement is issued, there is nothing to deny and nothing to confirm. The absence of language becomes its own shield. For the individual affected, this silence creates a unique psychological weight. There is no closure, only uncertainty, no defense to prepare, only questions that linger unanswered. From the audience's perspective, silence invites speculation, but from within the system, it serves a clear function: to move forward without disruption. What makes silence powerful is not what it hides, but what it prevents: dialogue, accountability, and resolution. In many cases, silence is not meant to punish. It is meant to conclude, and conclusions delivered quietly are the hardest to challenge. Behind every paused trajectory is a person still living in real time. While public attention shifts rapidly, personal reality does not. Responsibilities remain, doubts persist, days continue with unanswered questions and altered routines. The human cost of quiet disengagement is often overlooked because it lacks spectacle. There is no dramatic downfall to witness, no moment that demands empathy, only gradual isolation. What makes this experience particularly difficult is the absence of narrative. Without explanation, individuals are left to process events internally, often in silence. The uncertainty can be more exhausting than criticism because it offers no direction for recovery, yet it is also in this space that resilience quietly forms. Distance creates perspective, stillness allows reassessment, and stepping away from unstable structures can, over time, become a form of preservation rather than loss. Not every ending is a failure. Some are interruptions that protect what remains unseen: dignity, health, and the possibility of renewal. This story resonates because it extends beyond any single name or industry. Many people recognize the pattern: being valued until circumstances change, being included until priorities shift, being essential until one is no longer convenient. The discomfort lies in its familiarity, yet the reflection it offers is not one of fear, but of grounding. When worth is defined externally, stability is fragile. When identity depends on systems that change without warning, security becomes temporary. The quieter lesson is this: relevance fades, but self-worth does not have to. Silence may close one chapter, but it does not erase capability, integrity, or future choice. What matters is not how others withdraw, but how one recenters. In uncertain environments, awareness becomes protection, and in moments of exclusion, reflection can become strength. Because while systems move on quickly, individuals who understand their value beyond approval carry something far more enduring: the freedom to choose what comes next. The most powerful transitions do not always come with applause. Some arrive wrapped in stillness, forcing reflection and eventually renewal. What matters is not how a chapter ends, but how the next one is written. If you appreciate calm, thoughtful storytelling that looks beyond headlines and into the structures beneath them, subscribe to Update Extra 105 and turn on notifications so you don't miss future uploads. Thank you for watching, for listening carefully, and for choosing reflection over noise. We'll see you in the next story.